again. Okay. And go back here. Go live. All right, girls.
Are we live? All right.
It's I'm not sure yet. It's setting up your webinar for Facebook Live, done,
Okay.
redirecting, and that's still spinning.
The anticipation.
It says on mine, webinar is now streaming live on Facebook.
It says mine too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
We're only 3 minutes behind. That's not too bad.
No.
So everyone, I want to welcome you. Welcome, team. We're all so excited for tonight, for everyone that's going to be hopping onto the Facebook event. As you come trickling in, just sit and join us. Grab a cup of coffee. We are so excited to share these stories with you tonight. So my name is Bethany Bull. Welcome to Simply Successful. I want to thank you so much for joining us. We're just going to share for maybe about 30 minutes tonight. It's just some simple steps that we've each enacted to build thriving, successful businesses at different stages of life, and also some of the health transformations that we've experienced. So I want to start with the question, what is Shaklee? Shaklee Corporation was founded by a brilliant man, Dr. Forrest Shaklee. This was back in 1956, so over 60 years ago. Dr. Shaklee was a scientist. He had 5 honorary degrees in biochemistry, nutrition, philosophy, theology, and chiropractic. And he believed that science should live in harmony with nature. And when he created the first natural multivitamin, this was back in 1915 in the US, his focus was on wellness and keeping people healthy. And actually, if you grab a bottle of vitamins from your grocery store shelf, if you drink any sort of protein drink, you owe that to Dr. Shaklee and his research, which pioneered the way we started to think about daily supplementation and nutrition. He knew that this concept of living in harmony with nature would need to be taught. So he created a model using people like us. So we're kind of a form of mission agents. We use Shaklee products, we experience incredible health transformations, and then we want to share it with other people. So at its core, this is the foundation of every Shaklee business. We help one person at a time to find better health, and at the same time, we're building lasting and successful businesses. So there are many reasons why people decide to start a Shaklee business. Sometimes it's to pay for your own products, a secondary income, tax benefits, travel, or just because you want to help other people. Now, Jessica here is a mom of young kids like myself. So I want to start off tonight by asking her if she could just share a little bit of her story, why she wanted to do a Shaklee business. So go ahead, Jess.
Sure. So I started this business because I wanted the time and the margin to invest in relationships that are meaningful to me. I was raised in an environment where there wasn't a whole lot of freedom to have good relationships with people. So I really love that we can do that in this business. Over text, email, phone calls, we can just connect and help people in so many ways. I'm already a natural helper. I consider myself a natural helper. So it satisfies that longing in me to connect with and help people. And as a mom of 4 kids, my oldest is 6. So they're all really little. It can be done. It really can be done just in the nooks and crannies of the day. And I'll do work in the car when my husband's driving, or while kids are napping, or playing while I'm waiting for appointments. It's so doable. It's so possible. It's hard at times, but it's rewarding. It really can fit into a very busy life. I absolutely love the concept of creating something now that I will love and be grateful for later as my kids get older, and it will really open just more doors and more opportunities for us and just them as kids and us as a family. I love that they can watch me and Josh and learn about health and wellness, and not just physically, but mentally and emotionally too, as I've recovered from depression and anxiety in a number of ways. They've watched me with very bad people skills at the beginning develop into somebody who's braver and who's conquered a lot of fears and things like that since starting this business. So having 4 girls, I really, really want them to be strong, and I want them just to know that they're capable of doing anything that they set their minds to. But I can't do that without being an example first and showing them what that looks like and showing them that it's possible with the choices that I decide to make and the paths that I decide to take. And I love that you can't go wrong with this business because some weeks are not so great, but then you can just get right back to it and pick it right back up, regardless of where you left off. So speaking of having life with kids and doing this business, Bethany, why don't I give it back to you to share a little bit more?
Sure. Yes, I can relate to you on so many levels because I'm doing the mama thing too. So I started out with working full-time in organic certification. I knew when I had kids that I wanted to be home, but we struggled with if we could afford it. Plus, I really did love my job. So I had my first son. I started working part-time from home. But anytime I had to go to the office, I had to pay a sitter or I had to take him with me. When I did work from home, I had to follow the business hours of the company I worked for. So this just created so much stress. I always felt such a conflict between choosing my job and choosing my family. They never like fit well together. And then I got pregnant with my second son. So I decided then I needed to quit my job. I wanted to be home and I was going to just try this Shaklee thing. But I was already using the products. So I had that experience of using the products. I was getting healthier, overcoming several autoimmune disease issues. I loved the flexible hours. That really attracted me. I was already passionate about health and wellness. So that seemed like a good fit. But for me, I knew that if I was going to be all into something like this, I had to fully believe that the company was genuine. It wasn't just about marketing and getting lots of distributors that were pushing lots of products, because for me to put my name on something to my friends, it needed to be like solid and trustworthy. And Dr. Shaklee's philosophy met all of those things for me. So I determined to grow my business in October 2015. I got to the first rank by that next January, and this was all by staying home, raising 2 toddlers, and I was able to replace my part-time income. And I love Shaklee's new mantra, which is mobile first. The CEO of Shaklee, Roger Barnett, just invested $25 million in technology for this next mobile generation. So throughout the day, I can set up follow-up reminders. I can share pre-made social media posts. We have this free health survey link I can send to people to get them started on a health plan. Text conversations for follow-ups, and I can do this all on my phone, just interwoven throughout my day. I also love that I get to call the shots. If my kids need me, I don't have to work. I don't have that conflict anymore. But most importantly, it's just so fun. It's so much fun that I get to help people. When you give someone the gift of better health or a stronger immunity, you just want to do it all over again. And because of the Shaklee philosophy and the really high testing standards, you know you're giving people the very best. When the core of a company and your teammates, we all think the same. We all are going towards the same goal. There's just no words to describe what that's like. There's just no place I would rather be. Now, I can't wait for you to hear from Bonnie. Bonnie has such a powerful story about Shaklee as a legacy in her family. So Bonnie, can you tell us a little bit about how Shaklee was introduced to your family through your mom?
Sure. I was 16 when my mother joined Shaklee as a member, and once she started telling her wellness story, her business grew and she became a Shaklee director in 1969. We still have some members that are still buying Shaklee from that long ago. They love the products. In 1971, I moved to California and did the 9-to-5 job routine in mortgage and banking. I still always talk Shaklee and had my group myself that just were using the product and selling the product. I believed long ago that Shaklee products were the best on the market and that Shaklee cared about how their products were produced, grown, and how they were sold. Once retired from the mortgage industry, my mother asked me if I would manage and grow her 45-year-old Shaklee business that was booming. She herself was ready to retire on the beaches of Florida. I enjoy educating people about health and supplementation, having a green home by using Shaklee cleaning products, and using organic cosmetics that decrease the year's wear. I have been able to share the Shaklee story for so many years. This family business will now be 50 years old in August. And and is growing strong, and from my mother's own story that long ago. What a wonderful business to be able to pass on to your children the gift of health and wealth. Why don't you make Shaklee a part of your life and don't live without it? That's my story. Rebecca, would you share your story with us?
Yes, thank you so much, Bonnie. I am starting to cry now. Thank you. So I actually, I owned a coffee and sandwich shop for about 5 years. And yes, there's amazing perks that come with running your own business, but it was a lot of responsibility, and it was a lot of liability as well. So I did, there were lots of hours to work, both in-store and take-home tasks. And yes, I did get to write my schedule because I was the big boss, right? But my responsibilities required hours to put in between 70 and 90 hours a week. And 70 hours was like the last year. So that was 5 years. It was about 4 years of 90 hours a week and 70 that last year. So needless to say, I was very burned out by the time I left. And plus with startup costs around $60,000 to $70,000, and that's small on the restaurant scale. It's a lot of pressure to pay back bank loans, small business loans, and if you have business partners or whatever. So it was a lot of stress, and it was a lot of pressure on me. Entrepreneurship from a network marketing standpoint looks so different, and to start, it's a lot less stressful. Shaklee, if you're starting Shaklee, you're looking at $300 to $400 to start a business. So just right there, that percentage difference is huge. And it's something that a lot more people can do. A lot of people don't walk around with $60,000 in their pocket. So it's something that's more accessible to more people. And I love that aspect of it. And then, I do still have work, obviously, and responsibilities to my family and my customers. But that work doesn't ever look like 70 hours a week. And my busiest weeks look about 30 hours a week. And the more I work, the more energy I actually feel. And the reason is because I'm able to help people invest in themselves and better futures for their families and themselves, their health stories. And I have no employees. If you've ever been a manager before, employees are kind of a pain, even in their best intentions. But I have business partners, and they're responsible for themselves. And I support them, and I'm there for them, and I invest in them. But I'm not managing them. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm not keeping tabs on them all the time, making sure things are getting done. It's their business. They can run it how they see fit. And I'm just there to support them and get to their goals. So switching that mindset is huge and a lot less stress on me. And now that I'm a new mom, most of my business meetings look like play dates. And I 100% love, I know Jessica and Bethany have said the same thing, I love including my son in my business. And I think it's such a great legacy that I'll be able to build, like Bonnie's mom built for her children, and my mom and my grandma built. As well. I'm a third generation Shaklee kid. So I love the legacy of this company. Now, Alan, you and Tony came into Shaklee from a corporate background. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. My husband, Tony, was an executive with a large corporation when we were introduced to quote unquote products in harmony with nature and good health. We joined this company called Shaklee to enjoy better health. Little did we know it would lead to larger opportunities. After we had been using Shaklee food supplements for several years and sharing them with people we knew, it's only natural to share something you really like. We were making more money with Tony's full-time job. We were making more money in Shaklee than he was making his full-time job in corporate. So after thinking it over seriously, we decided it was time for him to say goodbye to his corporate position and pursue a home-based business full-time. This was during the 1970s. I had been a stay-at-home mom, but now it was time for me to give this new business my best shot. We formed a partnership and pledged to each other that we would make it work. Our first big incentive trip was to Acapulco in 1976. All expenses paid, luxurious hotel, delicious meals. I can still see our 12-year-old son coming away from the breakfast buffet on the beach with his plate piled high with bacon. And good, wholesome entertainment, too. Yes, 2 of our children went with us. We met lots of nice people there, and they were doing the business so that later, as we qualified for future trips, it's been like a big family reunion. In 2001, we went to China with a group to teach spoken English to teenagers at camp. And when we returned from the month-long trip, our Shaklee check was here waiting for us. Now that we're in our retirement years, Shaklee continues to be a big part of our lives. We don't have to depend upon our monthly Social Security checks. Oh, we still receive them, but we also receive a rather large check into our bank account each month as a result of our home-based business. It just keeps paying us. And as we do a minimum amount of work in it now, we enjoy staying in touch with friends and making new ones, plus yearly travel. It helps keep us young in our minds and our activities and our attitudes. Katie, how does Shaklee fit into your life?
All right. So I began Shaklee, began learning about Shaklee in October 2017. Goodness, I can't talk now. And that was not long after I was married. But I spent, how many months is it, from October to January, learning about Shaklee. I know Jessica sent me countless videos of like webinars, of YouTube videos of kids that were growing up on Shaklee. And I was like, what? At the results that parents were having with their children. And I saw that as something that I wanted for my future family. As a kid, I did take vitamins. Anyone heard of Flintstones? And we stopped taking vitamins, actually. My parents stopped buying them, and I tried other ones, and I never had results. My mom kept telling me that I would feel different from them, actually, and I never did. And then I finally found Shaklee, and, well, I guess Shaklee found me. And I felt a huge amount of difference after just taking the Vitalizer. My immune system wasn't very strong, and besides a little cough that I'm getting over right now, I haven't been sick since January 2017. January 2017. I really can't talk tonight. I haven't been sick in over a year, let's say that way. And Shaklee fits into my life and just in the nooks and crannies. It's incredible. When I lived in San Diego with me and my husband did for a little over 8 months, I really dug into learning about it, and every single thing that I learned was just spot on. It was incredible, from the research to supporting NASA to all the doctors involved in working behind the scenes with it. And the fact that I'm allowed to learn about that stuff along with them is incredible. I'm also a violinist of 17 years, yeah. And I get to tell students or people at rehearsal or people at gigs about it, and they see the difference. I'm also a obstacle course racer. So if you've heard of Spartan Race, then you know what I'm talking about. And I get to use the performance or the sports performance line. I see a huge difference with that because I've gotten so much stronger. I'm able to do rope climbs and wall jumps and just things that I'd never done before. And just being able to share the gift of better health and stronger health with those at the gym or those at those races, it's incredible. And just like Jess, I'm very much a person who wants to help people. But I also know that Brooke has a history of wanting to better her health as well.
Absolutely, Katie. I was first introduced to Shaklee at a time when I was really looking to take control of my health. I've struggled with weight my entire life, adding on new life experiences, pregnancy, motherhood, and now that I'm starting to get older, I'm starting to see how the effects of not paying attention to my health in my youth is really starting to make a big, lasting, long impact for me. It really started for me with the birth of my youngest daughter, who is now 6. It really highlighted some health issues that I was having, and it really pushed me and my husband to seek real sustainable solutions for better health. The journey of figuring out how to better our health is already a difficult one. So when my husband lost his job nearly 2 years ago, we had a really big setback. I was a first-year teacher at the time, and my husband's income really was the majority of our household income. Even though my husband was able, very luckily, thankfully, to get right back to work, he was really severely underemployed. We went through nearly all of our savings. We've worked very, very hard in the last 2 years to get and keep our heads back above water. Being introduced to Shaklee at what I feel was the perfect time gave me the opportunity and my husband the opportunity to seek better health for ourselves, as well as giving my husband Mark and myself an opportunity and a path for sustainable income, so that way if the worst happens again, we're prepared and we have a plan B. But also it gives us hope that when we are ready to enter our retirement years, we are really well set up and can enjoy those years for ourselves. So for me, I'm going to tell you that as a brand new team member, really just getting my business off the ground, it has been a blessing and a wonder watching and working with Karen. She's been quite an inspiration for me. Karen, would you please share your Shaklee journey?
Thank you, Brooke. And we sort of had similar situations in our lives at certain points. I grew up in a Shaklee household with my parents were consumers, and I watched my aunt and uncle build a really successful business. As a matter of fact, you're talking family here. We've got Cheryl and Becca and I. Cheryl's parents were they introduced us to Shaklee, actually, and got us in. And in 1987, I joined along with Cheryl to build a business. And then life sort of happened, and I was young and single, and I was doing competitive bodybuilding, and, I was young. And I did dabble in the business, and I was a consumer, and I got married and was raising children. And I had a Shaklee household because I knew the products. I wanted the cleaners in my house. I wanted my children to be safe. And they were using products. And as a matter of fact, at 8 months old, my youngest son ended up having candida. And if anybody knows that, it's, like thrush, sometimes it shows up like that. His problem was horrible diaper rash that was just really, really bad. And I found a pediatrician that is actually a Shaklee person. Now, normally it's treated with an antifungal medication, and I didn't want to go that route. And I found this woman, and she gave us, her prescription was to change his diet and to use Shaklee supplements. And that was perfect fit for me. And he got better very quickly, which was such a blessing. Now, if you flash forward 20 years, I've always been using the products. And I'm a personal trainer. I have 3 certifications. I do health coaching. And I felt like this was my destiny to do that, because I've always wanted to improve lives one person at a time. But this is still trading time, time for money and working for someone else. Then a whammy, similar to what Brooke experienced, was in 2013, my husband lost his job, and we went through an extended period of time. It was 7 years, actually. He's gainfully employed now and loves his job. But we too went through savings and retirement and all of that. And the rough times I think I was emotionally paralyzed, and I never was able to really think. I couldn't think. And suddenly I thought to myself, holy Toledo, I have, number one, I'm holding back the best secret from all of my clients, because fitness and Shaklee go together, and Shaklee can definitely help them with their fitness and their training. And the second thing is, emotionally, let it go, Karen. You can get money from this. You can make money. You can make a retirement for yourself. And so now I'm in a point where I want to help people not only with their health, but I want to help them to build a business on their own, so they never have to worry about being out of work, and they can be the boss. And the best thing is I have a team like this that's phenomenal to help and support me on my way. Now, Diana, you have a phenomenal story to share with us. Would you please?
Absolutely. Can you hear me there? Yes, okay. I've been with Shaklee, I've been taking Shaklee for about 20 years. It started when my family was homesick, and my friend Cheryl, who you'll meet in a few minutes, she came over to our house. We were all laying on the floor in the living room sick, and she had a big bowl of chicken soup and a big sack of vitamin C. And that was nice. So she had talked to me about Shaklee then, and I was really interested. We all got better and healthy. And a few months down the road, my daughter was 1, my 4th child. She just turned 1, and I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And everywhere but my spine, I couldn't take lids off of stuff. I couldn't pick anything up. I had to use my forearms to pick up my daughter. And I was on 3 different medications that I had to be checked every 6 months. And I thought there has got to be a natural way for me to be able to be able to live life, because I just thought I was too young. And so I remember researching Shaklee when Cheryl told me about it, and I contacted her again, and she hooked me up with a nutritionist in Oregon, and we changed my diet completely, and I went on all Shaklee products. And 3 months later, I went off all medication, and I was only on Shaklee, and that was 20 years ago. Haven't had an issue since, not at all. It truly is healing at a cellular level, and I've raised my children on it. My 5th was born. I did it prenatal. I did only Shaklee. We call her my Shaklee baby. And she's 17 now. So all my kids, they just know Shaklee. And since they know it so well, now that they're all growing up, my son, who now lives in LA, he's also a personal trainer. And he called me and wanted to know some information about sports nutrition and fitness nutrition. And so I was giving him information, and I thought, why am I not in this business? I know how to do it. I know Cheryl. I need to get reconnected. So I reconnected, and I thought, I want to be the person who can help families and help families be healthy and whole with a company that I trust completely, who have excellence in their standards, have been around for 63 years. Harmony with nature, scientifically tested. I want to be that person to be able to do that. So I got my business started, and I got my website up, and now I'm just trying to connect everybody that I can with Shaklee and let them know what an amazing, amazing company it is. And working from home is wonderful. So I love being able to work from home. I love studying everything that Shaklee has to give you and provide for you at Shaklee University. It's amazing. And I just love it. So when I first met Cheryl, she had her girls at home. She stayed home with her girls. Now she's a grandma. How has your business changed, Cheryl, since then?
Thanks, Diana. Well, as Karen mentioned, actually, I'm pretty sure it was my aunt, her mom, who introduced my parents to Shaklee in 1970. I'm not sure Aunt Gloria was using the products herself so much, but she had heard about Shaklee. And my father had a dramatic arthritis turnaround. I mean, he, from being crippled to living to his, another 40 years, 50 years with no arthritis. When my parents told me that Shaklee protein might help with my severe hypoglycemia, I gave it a try. It was the single most significant health decision I've ever made. A few years later, my parents began sharing their Shaklee story with whoever would listen. They established a thriving business that rewarded them with good income, cars, and trips. So, a few years later, I got married, and when our daughters were little, our household income was a few $100s short every single month. After years of trying all kinds of part-time jobs out of the home, I thought, my family loves these products. My parents have a thriving business. Why can't I? And so my business partnership with Shaklee Corporation began, which was a lifesaver for our family. I became a stay-at-home mom while contributing enough financially to give us not just what we needed, but little extras along the way too. Many decades later, I'm a grandmother, and I remember how important it was to our family life that I was able to be there when our girls needed me, not just when a job would allow. And today, more than ever, households need 2 incomes, but many families want to raise their children the way we did. So 2 years ago, I picked up where I left my business to glide so that I could work to change lives of the new people in my life and prepare my husband and me for a better retirement. I want everyone to know about a proven way they can provide as much or more for their family and outside of the home job. I'm also very concerned about the state of health of today's children and future generations. My girls were raised on Shaklee products. Shaklee supplemented the best food I knew how to serve and kept the poisons of commercial cleaners out of our home. I know they were strong and healthy because of that choice. So I want everyone to know about the Shaklee difference that can help children be stronger and healthier as God intends for them. I'm so thankful to my parents for finding Shaklee. When they died, their business was passed on to me, which merged with my own. My business can be passed on to my children, something that makes building it even more exciting to me. And now my business earns as much as my husband's salary, something very important to people close to retirement. I am proud to represent this 63-year-old network marketing company with its pristine reputation for quality. Well, Bethany, I think that about wraps up all of our stories, and I hope people have enjoyed hearing about our success, which really was pretty simple in the end.
Yes,
You want to take it from here?
Yes, absolutely. So, ladies, thank you so much for sharing. Those of you who are listening, thank you. So as we wrap up tonight, I just want to share again that it's in the very DNA of our 63-year-old company that no one can succeed without first helping other people succeed, whether that be in health or financially or both. That's how Dr. Shaklee wanted it set up. That is how we were all trained when we started our businesses, and that is how we train other people. So if this resonates with you, with anyone listening tonight, or at the recording later after tonight, please reach out to the person who invited you here. We'll provide you with the info you need so that you can consider having your own thriving Shaklee business. We'd love to have you join our passionate team. So we want to thank you for spending a little bit of your Sunday evening with us, and we are truly grateful. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Now, let's see if we can get me off Facebook Live. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Take care.